In 2021, Mr. Nnamdi Kanu, a British citizen, was abducted by Nigerian security forces in Nairobi, Kenya. Since his detention, he has been subjected to torture and many other unpleasantries. A United Nations Rights Council report released a damning assessment of Nigeria's government's treatment and called for his immediate release. My right honourable friend from Camberwell and Peckham has worked tirelessly on behalf of Mr Kanu and is urging the Foreign Secretary to do more to secure his release. Nigeria is a Commonwealth nation that receives tens of millions in UK aid. It is one of the biggest benefactors of aid. Part of this aid support must be a commitment to human rights and upholding the right to fair trials. Mr Kanu must be given access to a fair and due process. A British citizen travelling on the British passport should not be kidnapped in a third country and dragged to a Nigerian prison. The government needs to get...
All right. So, as we wait for the 20th day of November 2025 for the final judgment on Nnamdi Kanu, yes, this judgment will be passed by Justice James Omotosho, a Yoruba son. Well, until then, we'll see what it will be. But honestly, in the recent days, a lot of things has been going through my mind about Nnamdi Kanu. And honestly speaking, it has been giving me a sleepless night. And that is why I want to share it with us here. So please, I want to beg you to stay with me. Oh yes. Now, I started asking myself, what is the offense of Nnamdi Kanu? But before we get to his offense, I started asking myself, why did Nnamdi Kanu get into this? Why? Why did he decide to once again come up with the issue of Biafra, even after 60-something years, you know, the Biafran war that was fought in 1966 till 1970, and after all these years, somebody came back and started talking about Biafra, despite the fact that in the year 1966 to 1970, during the Biafran war, a lot of people were unalived. Millions of people, I mean, were unalived. And then what could ever trigger somebody again after how many years to come to start talking about that thing? That was what was actually going through my mind. And I got the answer. I'm going to share it with you. In fact, let me not talk much. Let me allow you to listen to the answer.
This persecution of the Igbo people, this orchestrated, almost global persecution of the people, stops with me. It cannot happen. Very well. It can never happen. That is why we do what we do. That is why I do what I do. I am campaigning for the freedom of my people because of the persecution that we're facing. Yes. It's as simple as that. Nothing more, nothing less. Yes. Yes.
Exactly. That was the answer I got. That even after the war, even after unaliving millions of people in the Southeast, they continued with their injustice on the people of the Southeast. They continued with persecution or still persecuting the people of the Southeast. And then I asked myself, is it true? Are they really persecuting the people of the Southeast? Because I have seen, I have heard some people coming out to say, no, the Southeasterners are not being persecuted, you know, they are fine, and so on and so forth. And I asked myself, are they really being persecuted, or is it just a mere word? Now, I'll show you another video, just a little clip to show you the answer that I got. All the answers I got, I tried to convert it into these videos so that you will see it. So please, I want to beg you to listen to this answer first.
In the year 1967, Awolowo, a Yoruba man, stabbed over 3.5 Igbo children in the Civil War, and they died of kwashiorkor. In 2023, when they saw that an Igbo man is about to win Nigeria election, they said there is technical glitch. They stopped uploading results, and they announced the Yoruba man as the president of Nigeria. In the year 2025, another Yoruba man failed 379,997 Igbo children, failed them in JAMB. It's not a coincidence, it's a deliberate attack on the Igbo. Everything is deliberate. It's intentional. Have you seen why Nnamdi Kanu say one Nigeria no go work? One Nigeria will not work for Igbo man. Nah, one Nigeria ain't had a barago. Now waiting all of us know. 5 states in the southeast, all of them, they failed them. In Lagos State, because Lagos also they included, the 5 states, Anambra, Abia, Imo, Enugu, and Imo states, all of them failed them. In Lagos, do you know the location that is affected by this jam failure is dominated by Indigo, first stack. Igbo dominated area for Lagos. They fail all the Igbo children where they did. A Yoruba man. You see, one Nigeria, you might not believe it now, but you accept this reality later. Okay, in Nigeria, all of you doing this, you don't accept it now. Mano ye legu from nanya. Oh ye legu from nanya. It must come. One Nigeria will not, it no go work. It's a scam. Other than the Hundi work, how work right? They did not fail Yoruba. They did not fail Hausa. They did not fail Akwa Ibom. They did not fail Calabar. They did not fail Bayelsa. They did not fail Benin. They did not fail any other tribe in Nigeria. But they fail Igbo children. And they say that is a glitch. It's an error. In 2023, they say it's a glitch. In 2025, they say it's a glitch. The children from Southeast, students, they said they know what they wrote. They saw that these students were passing. The figures waiting the mark, they cannot believe it because anything that will make them to put Igbo states, Igbo children, Igbo students for top, or the performance of the Igbos generally, anything that will make them to put them for top is what they can never accept. So they always want to bring, that is why when they say that Anambra is the best in education, that time for WAEC, WAEC immediately pull it down. They pull their tweet down so that they will not give credit to Tundim. When you reach for cutoff mark, it is the 5 states in Southeast that have the highest cutoff mark. If you don't have up to 140 something, 150, you don't go enter university. But in the North, once you have 40, 35, 15, you are free to enter to Adobayero University. Once you have 70, 60 in Yoruba land, you can enter university. But in Southeast, in Igbo land, your score must reach 140, 150, 160 cutoff mark for Igbo. The standard of education, the level where they put them, very high. If you are not reach there, you are not going to enter university. Marginalization. Victimization.
That is not all. Wait, I got an answer from a man from the West. Oh yes, a man from the West actually gave us another answer. Please listen to him.
Nigeria has an Igbo problem. There is a secret memo in government that whenever we want to take charge in this country, be careful of the Igbo. Don't give them position. Don't give them opportunity. Otherwise, they will over. For an Igbo man to survive in Nigeria, as it is currently put together, Nigeria must break.
Wait, the meeting you had with Nnamdi Kanu.
Yes.
You are telling us now that Nnamdi Kanu.
Don't you know what happened, the called pogrom in this country, where people were slaughtered and their bodies and their heads placed inside the train going down south? Even our parents.
Wow.
Tell us, Igbo, in 2024, detaining Nnamdi Kanu against all the court orders, against all the court rulings.
Help me understand this thing now, please. How is it that somebody that was alleged to be inciting violence is charged with terrorism and has been in DSS custody for years now, not caught with a weapon? And how is it as well that somebody caught with weapon, with evidence of unaliving people, is now called to a negotiating table, working freely? And some cleric scholars are even advocating for the negotiation. I don't understand though.
Well, if people from the East, people from the West, and people from the North can confirm that yes, these people are really being persecuted, then it is so. Anyway, as I said earlier, we wait till the 20th day of November, just in less than 2 weeks, to see what the judge will say on the case of Nnamdi Kanu. But then I'm going to allow you now to listen to this historical history about what has happened between Nigeria and between the people of the Southeast. I call them the Biafrans. Oh yes. This is what has happened, and fortunately or unfortunately, it is still happening till date. So please, I beg you to stay put. Please listen to this video. Then you do well to drop your comment in the comment section what to think.
There is something about the Nigerian state and the Nigerian nation and how they see Biafrans. So, and I think it came from the Biafran war. Maybe because people like us didn't participate in the war. That's the reason we feel this way. Because I was born in 1971. I cannot carry, I don't have the multi-generational costs, or conspiracy against Igbos. But I genuinely, and I've said it several times, and I'm not saying it's based on what I know. There's no, I mean, even the Supreme Court was this shy of saying, look, this guy did nothing, he broke his bail. In fact, I told Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer that they should not reapply for bail because the Supreme Court has reinstated the bail practically from what they said. But they went and reapplied, and, and there's no way, and I'm saying it, there's no way Nnamdi Kanu is going to get justice from a federal high court, a court of appeal, or Supreme. It's impossible, except if the state decides that, because Nnamdi Kanu is the official prisoner of whomever is the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So I know what it means to be, they have to go to the president every morning and report that you're still alive, or you're eating, or you're on hunger strike. So, but at this time, he's an official prisoner of the president. And anything that is official to the president doesn't let go.
An Igbo man will never become the president of this country. Yes, an Igbo man will never become the president of this country. When I see comments like this on my thread, I begin to wonder, what is the state of mind that evolved this kind of comments? You see, when I see people lost in the labyrinth of this conjecture, I now begin to realize the type of wickedness, the type of hatred, the type of disunity that some politicians, perhaps in the past, may have sown in Nigeria. So, if you don't want an Igbo man to become president, and yet you that says you don't want an Igbo man to be the president of Nigeria, you are the same person that cries, one Nigeria, the unity of Nigeria is sacrosanct, Nigeria is an indivisible entity, blah, 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 all these rhetorics that suggest that one part of the country will rule, the other ones you follow. These are the same people that will cry wolf when an Igbo man says, break the country and let us go. What exactly is going on here? Why are this set of people so intoxicated with the idea that the leadership of this country must belong to a certain portion of this country, while the rest of us play the act of sit down and look? Let me tell you what is going on here. Now, trust me, I am not saying this to market the Igbos. There are bad leaders in Igbo language, there are bad leaders in Yoruba, there are bad leaders in Fulani. There are bad leaders everywhere. So what I'm asking this set of people is that if we get a leader that can actually transform Nigeria from its chaos, are we going to reject him just because he bears an Igbo origin? You see, a lot of you are not ready yet for this country to transform itself. They say Nigeria is a giant of Africa, but clearly, from what I've seen, Nigeria is the Peking of Africa. There is nothing about Nigeria right now that anyone can be proud of. I had thought that, okay, let me see. There's a guy that made a comment in my thread and said that my hatred for Tinubu. I don't hate Tinubu. I dislike Tinubu. There's a sharp difference between hatred and dislike. And why do I dislike Tinubu? I dislike him because of what he represents. He represents criminality, deceit, and shortcut to getting what you want. A man who says you have to grab something, snatch something, and run away with it. That's a criminal mentality. So if that kind of person with that type of mentality is a role model to you, it's not a role model to me. I like a president that I could quote his words and stamp it on marbles. I like to write the word of my leader on the sand of time so that my children can say, okay, my father quoted these words from a leader. And they want to walk by it, they want to abide by those words. Imagine telling my children, look, Obaro, look, see, the only way to get things in this life is to grab it, snatch it, and run away with it. What type of legacy is that? That's a criminal legacy. The purpose of this video is to say something. Yes, Nigeria is a multilingual entity, about 375 ethnic nationalities, which somehow the colonial masters forcefully brought together. Now, if we must make this country work, we must establish a sense of equity, justice. We must take away and get rid of this undue ethnic bias. Now, I said in my previous video that anywhere in Africa where one tribe assumed itself as more populous do have the tendency to dominate those they perceive as less populous, and they refer to them as minorities. So if we have a country where disqualification of a leader is based on the ethnicity we identify himself with, it still means we are still living in the Stone Age. We are not ready to, to embrace the ideals of a 21st century civilization. Those of you who, whenever you hear the name of Peter Obi, you get sudden stroke of heart attack, you are the problem of this country. You are the problem of this country. If you are following this page, please know it without any equivocation that I am a diehard Peter Obi supporter, an unrepentant one for that matter. Now, if you bring somebody else that is better, fine. Even if it's a Yoruba man, if you bring a Yoruba man that is better than Peter Obi right now, I will switch my support. It's not about tribe. Those who base their preferences on tribe are still living in the dark ages of primitivity. You have to be better than that. You have to, if you bring the worst Urubu man today to compete with Peter Obi, I will campaign against that Urubu man. But if I assess that the Urubu man is better than Peter Obi, I will campaign for the Urubu man. This is 2025, for crying out loud. I still find it difficult to think that people are still moved or defined by their ethnic thoughts. Abra, when I reform my hand, so you really think that Tinubu 8 years, Tinubu 4+4? I still tell you, whether Tinubu rule 8 years or 12 years or become life president, I still tell you, now your people go still go internet, go they shout a big power, Muna Jinua. We will not beg. You know, when I am on this channel, I always look at issues that requires our deep thinking. I have always heard the saying that if you give an Igbo man the presidency of this country, they will break it. I've heard that right from when I was a kid up till now. Then the question now arose, who is really breaking this country? I mean, who is really breaking Nigeria? Because as it is now, 1960 to now is about 65 years, almost 65 years. And Nigeria has been going down the drain. There are more reasons to break Nigeria now than when we had independence. And I don't think the Igbos are responsible. I pause for a little while for us to allow that to sink in. The current state, when I grew up, when they give you, when they say that means 2 pounds. It means 1 naira. That means there was a time our money was more powerful than the pounds. There was a time our money, Nigerian money, was more powerful than the pound. 60 years later, where is our money? You see, I've come to the realization that those who are selling the narrative that if you give an Igbo man the presidency, they will break the country, they are, after all, indeed the ones breaking this country. When you hear people saying that if an Igbo man votes for another party, they will be unalived, who is breaking the country? When you hear somebody saying that an Igbo man will never become the president of this country, but you still will not allow them to go, who is breaking the country? Because I know that a Fulani man will not stand in Nigeria and hear that narrative that a Fulani man will never be president of this country. My brother, this country could be on fire. Or a Yoruba man hearing the rest of the country saying that a Yoruba man will never be president. This country will be on fire. So what I see is that a certain portion of this country has mandated itself to be the sole bearer of the leadership of this country. Now, for those who are saying break this country, see, I don't like pursuing shadows. I'm a realist by making. I like pursuing things that can be achievable. For now, breaking this country is a far cry. If your emotions does not allow you to see it, that's your headache. But the truth is, Alex Oti is an example of a governor out of 36 states. And we are all seeing his handwork. Those who have complained that if you give Igbo the presidency, they will break this country, ask them. They are champions from Katsina State, from Southwest, Northwest. What have they done to put Nigeria in an indivisible state other than the rhetoric that the unity of Nigeria is sacrosanct? Nigeria cannot be divided. They give Igbo, they will be to split Nigeria. How do you have confidence in a country where they cultivate hunger? How do you have confidence in a country where they cultivate low life expectancy through lower healthcare, kidnapping, and terrorism? How do you ensure the country is united in a country where the level of education keeps trolling down the line of enormous decline? and you say the country should not break? I think the narrative that the Igbos will break this country is a mere diversion or a calculated misdirection to enable those who truly want to destroy this country to have their leeway. Otherwise, how do you choose somebody who says he will grab election, snatch election, and run away with it, to a man who tells you, don't vote for me because I'm an Igbo man? After all, a Muslim man does not buy bread cheaper in the market. It clearly shows our priorities have been misplaced based on our biases, our misinformation, and deliberate mischiefs. Now, let me myself stop the rhetorics. The question I want to ask, do we really want this country to become better? I am sure the Muslims, the Christians, the terrorists, the Yorubas, the Igbos, everybody will say yes. But I tell you, we cannot have a good country with all these biases that we have had or we are having. We cannot have a country where you say, okay, let us live on from here. But you see, an Igbo man will never rule this country. Certainly that country will. You are telling me that even if an Igbo man bring the best president, the best mind that can actually salvage this country, because an Igbo man is a tag, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a tag on him not to be respected or not to be chosen. But even if a bad president comes from Katsina or from Southwest, no matter how bad it is, we should accept because they are from a privileged tribe. So being an Igbo is an unprivileged tribe. Being an Urubu man is an unprivileged tribe. Any tribe that is other than Southwest or Northwest is an you are the ones, the real people dividing this country is the North and the Southwest. My name is Magnus Soraka.
All right. So do we still need to talk? Please do well to drop your comment on the comment section what you think. Thank you very much. I'll see you in my next video. God bless you.